Welcome everyone to Los Libertinos podcast. I am your host, Carlos Abelard. This is Chingazos and Fire, episode number 12. My guest today is Obuya Gabriel. He is the CEO and founder of the Lion Sports Academy, a nonprofit operating out of Kenya that was founded in 2017 using football and Christian values to help orphans, rural and disadvantaged children become empowered individuals in their communities. Abuya is also recently engaged. Congratulations and welcome to Los Libertinos podcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so this is kind of a unique interview because, when I started doing the podcast about 2 or 3 months ago, sometimes you don't know how you network with friends or people, you become friends. And I'm a big football fan, and somehow the Facebook algorithms or somehow started showing me your videos. I started seeing like, oh, who's this guy? Oh, he has an academy. Oh, that's kind of cool. And then you just kind of move on. And I kind of like what you were doing because anything with football, I'm a advocate for because I'm a football is my passion. Like it's a big part of my life. So when I started kind of like seeing what you were doing, I thought, oh man, you know what? I think I'd like to interview this guy. He sounds, there's a lot of positive going on what you're doing, but also, um, I usually when I interview other people, they either write for, they write for art, they write for different articles or they got their own podcasts or, so we're gonna do this freestyle. But if I was gonna do it with somebody, it would be with somebody that understands the game of football because I think football unites people, connects people. So we should be able to have a nice dialogue between us. But before we get into the academy and some other stuff, could you please give a background on yourself, like where you were raised, your family, your upbringing, your education, your professional life, and then how you kind of navigated the waters to get to a point where you have your own academy there in Kenya?
Thank you so much. Let me start by introducing my name. I am Gabriel Obuya, and I was raised in a humble background, that is in up country, where I'm standing now doing the interview. My father had two wives. One was not bequeathed to have a child, but my mother had four children. And it happened in life that they separated, and I was left to stay, and I was adopted by the first wife who didn't have a child. And therefore the life, normally as a youth, you'll grow up seeing what is going on. By then we used to have a lot of issues because we are in up country where there's no electricity, no access to electricity, as you can see up to now. And what we used to do was for you to eat, for you to get money to even buy food, you'd fetch firewood, take it to the lake. Behind me is where you even sell at least something, and then you even eat. That was the mode of life, the way of life, and everyone always, that is life in the village. Now, I was not unique among those who are here. And what happened to me, I can thank God first, because in that hardship, I was able to go to school. And this is how I went to school. After mom having left us when I was in class, I may call it in your system grade 1, like that. It happened that God gave me some kind of knowledge, the power to comprehend and to understand what was being taught. And that was the unique part of it, that when I went to school, primary school, elementary school, I was bright enough that the teachers would accept me. I have to report that I didn't pay any school fee up to high school because they were having a lot of empathy and sympathy that indeed this boy is smart academically. Therefore, there's no need to send him away, being that if you send him away, his future will be thwarted and it will be estimated like that. Therefore, as time progressed, after my KCP, there's the national examination for the elementary school, primary school, I went to high school, which was a accordingly, I realized that there were only 120, the whole population for the high school students. But that did not stop me from working hard because I knew the kind of background I was coming from. What drove me to achieve what I wanted to achieve was the poverty behind it. We used to be told hard work pays. Education is the social equalizer. I knew now one day, if my social class is down, I will equalize myself to be in another class that I cannot achieve. And that was only driven through hard work that I'd seen. If I don't read, then my future is started. If I don't read, my future is finished. And there was nothing that could actually motivate us to go to school because majority were, let's say, there are a lot of truancy, school dropouts, early pregnancies, drug and substance abuse was the common core in the village. But to me, it was a unique point that God, after recognize that, because my dad was a Christian and the Christian values had been imparted on us as we were growing. And I knew that nothing just comes but if you do something by faith. Therefore, I went to school and I have to report that in high school I passed. I got almost all subjects A's. Therefore, I was called to the university to pursue Bachelor of Science in Industrial Chemistry and Management at Kenyatta University in Nairobi. Now, in high school, which I also have to mention this, in high school, I went to high school without anything. I only had books. I know in high school there's a boarding where you must have mattress, you must have things that really will help you survive in that environment. To me, I went just like that. I had nothing. No one could tell me this is what should be done. No one would advise me. But when I went there, even when people were being sent away for school fees, which is a major problem in this society, that is a major problem in Africa, school fee. Even if you're bright, I found favor in the eyes of the school principal. And the school principal was able to hide me because whenever we go outside to do contests, I would emerge the best, even among the top performing schools, because I was in a village school. And that really made me pursue my academic excellence without disturbances of being sent away for school fees, being that now the mind I was now reading through what God had given. And there, God really blessed me and I scored A. I had relatively, I don't know how their system works, but here I had 78 over 84. That is A minus. That almost was A plane. I wanted to pursue medicine, Bachelor of Medicine and Surgery, but I opted to do chemistry because I loved chemistry and I was number 10 nationally in chemistry. Therefore, say, let me go pursue chemistry. Now in the university, with other siblings, it happened that I am only the one who went to the university. The rest didn't go to school. My siblings, others following me, which later I advised to further their education, did not perform. But I'm the one who went to the university. Now, it was unique that the whole village here, as you go, very few were going to the university. Very few wanted to go to school. And it happened that I am the one who went to school. Therefore, change had to start, and I had to initiate the change. And to initiate the change, I was to fight early teenage pregnancies, which was actually preventing the ladies from going to school. I had to stop the issue of transit, school dropout, because majority of the kids, the young ones, they don't go to school. Not that they love it, not that they hate school, but it's because school fee. It is because no one is there to advise them. No one is there to impact some skills and actually to tell them that indeed school is the best place to be. Now that is the brief description of how it went, because I cannot highlight everything here for the sake of time. And from the university, after pursuing my Bachelor of Science in Chemistry, in my second year, it happened that in my fourth year, my dad had a stroke abruptly because we used to live in town. It was a cobbler. He was repairing worn-out shoes. Now, in the process that my dad had a stroke and we were all confused, depressed, because he was the pillar for our family. After all, even if he was poor, but being there itself was a plus for our existence. And when he had a stroke, I was depressed, stressed on what to do. Yes, I've called the name of Christ Jesus to heal him. I had faith, but it reached a point where by 3 months in the hospital, you understand how, and here the care, you are the one to care for him. Now staying in the hospital for 3 months was depressing. And that's when I came up with something that would actually do something in the society and relieve him from the depression. And that was football, because it's bring people together. Now, which I will also explain, because with those questions will ask on the spots. And so far, the three other siblings, two finished their high school. They didn't perform well, but we'll have to take them to college eventually. And my brother, who actually is the one taking care of the soccer boys and girls in my absence when I'm in Nairobi. Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's a great story. That's definitely a story of perseverance. So yeah, so let's get a little bit into the interview here now that people know kind of your background and know and know that you're definitely someone that has a lot of spirit to succeed. So we talked about a little bit about football, and I'd like to get more into that because I want to know if in choosing football as the gateway for your evangelism into these kids to for Christian, what is it about football that has a unique way of opening up the human spirit to also take in your evangelism, because I want football for my own agenda because I have my agenda of political agenda here. But you're using football for your agenda. What is it about football that uniquely is different from other sports or from other types of things that people do to open up the human spirit?
I'm using football within 5 principles. I may call them 5 fundamentals. Why football? I have been a missionary who preaches Christ Jesus as an evangelist, a very radical one from the university who knew how Christ Jesus can do something in someone's life. In the process of evangelism, I realized that majority of those who are coming for Christ to Christ Jesus were not youths. They were either old people who have known why they need Jesus and who understands why they need to acknowledge Jesus Christ as the personal savior. But youths would come, but when you call them to receive Christ, they would run away. Now, this is what actually made me think twice. How then can we bring the youths involved in the ministry, especially when they're young? And I studied from the Muslim people. I also studied from other denominations, and I realized that most of them, they make sure that the young ones are taught while they're still young about their religion. But in Christianity, majority of them, I would see parents leaving their children back home whilst they go to church. Now, I said, now I can use something that can bring these youths together. Then when they're together, I can induce Christianity into them. I can induce the word of God into them. Second principle was, again, where will I get the teenagers to teach them that it is bad to engage in premarital sexual affairs? How will I tell them that school is good, truance is not? You get that? How will I get them? I tried going to school, but their concentration span is limited. But I realized that the discipline in them can be induced through sports because football requires discipline. That is number two. Number three, again, after having started with the boys, because they were the donors of the pregnancy, that was another 1 year. I realized that now ladies were left behind. The men could be taught, they could be mentored, they could be they were understanding why they should call the girls their sisters and see them as a vessel of honor, not a vessel of this dispute. And therefore, after the boys had been engaged, I saw that the early teenage pregnancies was actually diminishing. And let us now go to the recipient, the ladies. And from there now we started again football for the ladies, where we will now teach them, these are your brothers and sisters. If today you perform well, you will change a life. You see, now football, we use it in evangelism, we use it in mentoring youths to be self-reliant. Now, another principle was for the community to come together, something that can actually evoke emotions is required. And you understand, football brings communities that are in conflict together. And I would even bring a village against a village playing football. Are very interesting. Until now, people, there would be peace in the society. I'm very, very, I'm very confident to say that for the last 3 years, we have never had any crime, robbery in this location. Why? Because in football, when people are together, they know each other. I didn't know, like to the other side of the hill, I didn't know people. But through football, we have known many people until if there's any boy hinted or attempting to be rogue or want to engage in crime, obviously we'll actually know because people have loved one another through football. Now, football, we are using it as a tool to solve social conflicts and social ills that can be there. Number 4, I think I've alerted number 4. Now I'm going to number 4, which I put to be the last principle. When after people had come together to cheer up soccer, that is when the issue of climate change comes, which is debatable, but now depending on how we put it here, this is majorly on community work. Apart from football, once we have the student, we now teach them how to also impact the community by planting trees, by making them aware of mental health, you understand? By telling them issues of health issues for them to understand, which probably could not be done without soccer. Therefore, soccer brings people together. That spirit of togetherness gives us the conducive environment, the opportunity to teach it the community, not even the boys, the community on health issues, on mental health issues. Let me put it that. Because sometimes you get a boy, someone is depressed and they don't understand because some of them have not gone to school. And now, through soccer, the society is gaining because their children are now going to school. And later, because the interview is going on, I will explain what has been done in the program of education. If you go to the website, you'll see we have education program, we have the community outreach, we have the evangelism part, and we have the sports part. And that is what I have been doing, using football to impact society positively. Yes.
Perfect, man. That's that was a beautiful there, man. That's very inspiring and it really touched me how you have broken it down that way because yeah, no, definitely football is the language of the people if you know how to the people of the world. If you know how to use it and understand it, you can use it for a lot of positive things. But to kind of also give some background into your region there and what you got going on there. What is what's some of the past political and economic features of Kenya that your country's in right now that has gotten to a point where these are the type of efforts that people have to do to better their communities. Is can you kind of speak to Kenya and it's what's going on there economically and politically, so that way somebody has a background of the playing field that you're playing in.
All right, I'll summarize it within 1 minute. After the independence, that is 1963, that is when British left Kenya for Kenya to govern itself or herself. The person that was supposed to be the president by the Britons, was Oginga Odinga, which comes from a Luo tribe. But he decided to say, no, let's give it to Kenyatta, the first president, Jomo Kenyatta, who happened to be a Kikuyu as a tribe. What distinguishes the Kenyan politics with yours is that here we are divided into tribal lines. And therefore, if your tribe is not in power, there's the high probability of you not getting access to most of the government's services that the government provides. And being that after the independence, Kenyatta became the president and Oginga Odinga became the vice president. Then after 2 years in 1966, they parted ways.
So let me can I just interrupt? So there was a president and a vice president, and each one represented the two main tribes, or is that what you're?
Yes.
Okay.
But by then, the two tribes combined forces. They fought for the independence together, and obviously, after they have fought, you have to get the exploits. For the Oginga became the vice president, and the Jomo Kenyatta became the president. But after 2 years, they parted ways. I may call it ideological differences. After parting ways, it means that once you leave the government, then you're not part of the government. Therefore, Oginga became an opposition leader. Now, from those times, after 1978, Oginga had been a opposition leader. It means once in opposition, you are not a co-heir to receive what the government offers. And that what made our side of the western part of Kenya, which is in Luo Nyanza, not to develop. You see that? Now, again, after the death of Jomo Kenyatta, the person who took over was Moi, Moi, who was the president, again for over 20 years. Now, in his presidency, again, we were in opposition until even others were killed. All that, I may not highlight. The issue of Tom Mboya, will get the Tom Mboya. Many were assassinated in an attempt to thwart I mean, not call it the radicalization, but we are very vocal. We are very vocal people who talk a little bit of activist, who always want things to be done in this other side of Kenya, and that made us grow, knowing that the government is against us. The government is on us. You see, therefore, even the schools were not built. Even today, there's no water. There is no piped clean water. We fetch water directly from the river. You see, like the services that the government would offer were only meant for those in government. For example, there's this Swahili word they say, Sasambaya, Maishambaya. Bad politics, bad life, poor life. That means if you're opposing the government, then you have nothing to say, and therefore keep quiet. The government services will not be provided to you. That continued until now, when Raila, the son to the first vice president, came in and combined forces with the Moi Kibaki, and they took power in 2002. Now, 2002, they were in government partially, and then from there, a lot of progress were done, at least roads were built. Again, 2007, there was a post-election violence where election was alleged to have been rigged. And that led to skirmishes, and many people were killed until others were taken to ICC. Now, the conflict itself brought a lot of issues, but Kibaki and Raila shook hands, and they became coalition. They formed a coalition government. And from there, Raila was the prime minister, who happens to come from Western Kenya, and Kibaki again a Kikuyu. They did well. A lot of things were done. Roads, schools, even education for primary was now free. And then later again, when Raila vied again, as no opposition, as now he also want to vie again to get the presidency, which was denied to him in 2007 when he won, allegedly because it was not announced by the Electoral Commission. Again, he was rigged out. And then after the rigging out, the skirmishes were not too much because he probably loved peace, didn't want a lot of, but though others were killed. Again in 2017, when Uhuru Kenyatta also rigged himself again, he's alleged to he had rigged himself. I cannot authenticate that when asked because this is important. Again, a lot of war. There were people who were calling for secession. They wanted to secede and form their own government. Again, Raila Odinga and the president shook hands and they tried to bring peace to the country. And that is what has been going on. And they wrote something called Building Bridges Initiative. Because of all what had happened in the past, they wanted to build a bridge and let them be left behind. And again, that also in every initiative, there are those who oppose it. And the opposers are somebody called William Ruto, the current vice president. Now, for the countries that is divided into two, but not as it used to be. There are those who are opposing the BBI, and there are those who are for the BBI. Those who want the bridges to be built because of the past events, which I cannot highlight everything. But in a nutshell, there are some regions that if you are not in the government, if you're not supporting the government, then likely there's the highest probability and possibility of you not gaining anything from the government. Yes.
Yeah. No, that's Kenya. Yeah. Okay. So that's the infrastructure of how it works. It's that if you're in power, you take care of your own, and the tribes that are not in power, they're considered opposition. So because they're opposition, they don't get the resources that should normally be given out, but they just don't because they don't got the political power. You had mentioned secession. Is there still a call for that, or is that more of a radical side to it, or is the initiative to bring the people together, is that more powerful right now?
No, it was powerful in 2017, just after the election, when the election was rigged until it was taken to the Supreme Court and the election was nullified. The general election was nullified. And then those who were supporting Raila Odinga wanted to secede. They wanted to divide Kenya into two. But that would bring a lot of division. Therefore, that's why Raila went with the president to shake hands and say, no, let us have peace. Kenya is bigger than an individual. And that's what happened. And I also failed to actually highlight the fact that after all that, the winner takes it all, there was the devolved unit of governance. Instead of everything being controlled up, money was not trickling down here. And therefore, in 2010, another new constitution was brought. You get that, right? The new constitution that was brought in another devolved unit of government called counties. But then we didn't have counties. I think it is a replica of the US Constitution that was copied and brought here, although we don't have states, but there are counties. Wherefore, the counties, the biggest financer of the counties is the National Exchequer account. That is the national government also brings money. Therefore, regardless of your political orientation or political inclination, you are able to get iota of few resources that can help your counties. Unlike when by then, if you're not the government, there's nothing that you get.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So basically giving a jurisdiction to counties allowed those county jurisdictions to be able to put themselves in some type of position to get access to, I don't know, either loans or or things like that, or money or different like that. So setting it up that way was beneficial. Okay. Yeah. You know. I hear you. Hey, what's up, everyone? Thanks for checking out the show. Be sure to support our efforts here by checking out palomaverdecbd.com. It is a online store that my wife and I run, and you get 25% off by using the promo code Chingazos. And just in case you guys don't know, it's not in my nature to be interviewing people like this, but if you like what I'm putting out, just know that I'm on some CBD. You know, I take a gummy about an hour before I know I'm going to do the show, and about 20 minutes before the show, I'll take some drops, just takes the edge off, and then I just get into it. So if that's something that sounds like, oh, in your life you do some other stuff that might benefit you to take the edge off before you get into some shit, Try some CBD products. So go to palomaverdecbd.com, use the promo code Chingasos, get 25% off anything in the store. Peace. So you call yourself a like a Christian conservative. Where in the Kenyan political spectrum does that fit? Is it similar to here, the way it is over here, where it's 50-50, or is there a lot more different type of flavors of politics, or where do you fit in? Where do you fit yourself in the Kenyan spectrum?
In the Kenyan spectrum, I'll use these two terms. Kenyan politics is euphoric. It is not. It is not ideologically based. It is euphoric because people are divided into tribes. Therefore, this is what we call the tribes reorganize to form a coalition to beat another tribe or to beat other tribes. Therefore, it is not depending on like I'm a Christian conservative, no, I'm a Democrat, I'm a left wing, no. Here, it is always euphoric. Today, for example, if I'm a Luo, I want to be the president, I have to go and contact the lawyers and the Kikuyus. Please, let's combine forces to form a government. And when the people go to the election, obviously, as a Luo will vote for such person who has formed the most formidable force. That is it. That is the only challenge here, that politics is inclined using tribal lines.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Which is something that we don't, that's not the way it is here. Here it's more, well, you already know where it is. And that kind of leads to my next question, because I'd like to get your opinion on, what is because you're outspoken. You post things that your opinions on there on Facebook, and what is what is your opinion right now on the current state of affairs here in America, politically or economically? I mean, I'd like to get your take.
One, I will consider myself a Christian conservative. And because there are things that I don't agree with, which the government is doing, like abortion, I wouldn't support. There are many things which, if we go deeper to ask, I will. But in the US governance, we love it how it operates. But what made me, before Obama's candidature campaigns, I'm Obuya, you understand Obama, the name is originating from our tribe, Luo. And I told you, we go with euphoria, tribal euphoria. And Obama was campaigning, yes, we can, by then. All Kenyans were supporting him because, this is Obama, no, he claims to be from Kenya. Yes. He's from Kenya, let's support him. And that's how we came to be Democrats, the whole country, because of him. But now, because he was a Luo, a Kenyan, but is a US president, our expectations were very much high. Not that it would help us, but we thought that Democrats are pro-democracy. From Democrats, we thought they are democratic. But I realized that they are democratic on paper, but not on reality. When Raila was rigged in 2007, it happened by then that the person who came to help was, the people who came were Condoleezza Rice. Something, yeah. She was a Secretary of State by then, in the Bush government, I think. I realized how she came and analyzed how she was articulating the issues, how to bring Kenya together. But when Obama came to power, again, another election was rigged. But the Democrats, John Kerry, was the first culprit. They came to be the observers. And I'm sorry, if you're a Democrat, you'll forgive me for this. Now, the same way the elections are allegedly, the same election, how US elections were rigged, this last election, is the very way when John Kerry was here, where they were using a logarithm a system whereby if you have 2 votes and the other party that's being rigged as 1, you have 1, now he has 3. There was that system that makes it constant, an equation, a linear equation that the system, the election server, this is how they corrupt the server until now. When Trump gets 30, Biden gets 20. Now Trump will have 15, Biden will have 25. That is how they did it here. And Kerry, the first person who said the elections, Kenya's elections were free, fair, and verifiable was John Kerry. But when we went to the Supreme Court, the elections were not free, they were not fair, and we couldn't verify facts. Like what is happening in Arizona, Maricopa County. Now, from here, I said, now, these Democrats, they're Democrats on paper, but not on reality. They're the chief perpetrators of election interference. And that happened when Obama initiated the killing of Gaddafi. That is what they said, no. These people are not after democracy. They're there for their self-parochial interest. And from there, then I started learning. And then, why I consider myself, I don't love feminists. But feminists are the one flooding Democratic Party. That means it is a party that is being led by evil people who does not recognize the natural law of who a man should be and who a woman should be. And you will see them. Democrats always love political identity. We the blacks, we the tribe, we the political, that we means they make sure that you belong to a certain place and you think into that, the way that place thinketh. And obviously that is not democracy. Calling you the Hispanics, you have to vote for Biden because you have to vote, because as a Hispanic you have to vote. You, the whites, you see that kind of politics. That is the divisive politics that divides a country. And such politics, as a Christian, we should preach love.
Yeah, no, I hear you. It's almost it's almost like you were saying euphoric. It's like they put people here into little mini tribes to be able to control, or to, because it's a lot easier to control tribes than the individuals in the tribe, so that's the way. Yeah, that's the way it's always gone here, and that's just the way it is. Yeah, no, that's interesting. Yeah, you consider your you know, I consider myself somebody that came from the left, but learned information, got more educated on political philosophy, and I come at things now from the right. But I also don't hate anybody that's from the left or anything, because that's where I came from. The spectrum is big, and people's hearts are still big, so you still got to deal with people in to their nature of their humanity still. But when you decided to start the academy, what was it in your nature inside of you that made you take the first step? Because there might be somebody there that might be thinking of starting something, whether it's an academy like this or different. What was it in your nature that made you take the first step to start the academy?
One thing, I'm somebody who is determined to achieve something. There are many who have started. In fact, without resources, I started. It's like I didn't have any impetus to push me to start something. What I had in me was the heart of love for the people. That is what has been driving me. Without money, with money, I'll be somewhere doing something for the people. And that is actually what I can say has been driving me to do something. I'm not a footballer. I used to play volleyball. But through interest, and having seen how love radiates from the children, I said, now this is where I belong. And even now, I've realized that is where I belong, to help these little children to achieve their potential in life.
Yes, and you sound like a very humble person. So that also means too that you can self-reflect on any things that maybe that you'd want to improve on, or that that you could do better on. What are some things that you're trying to better yourself as in your own character, that there's shortcomings and you're trying to be better at on your for yourself?
Yes, my shortcoming is that I have to put, which people say, but to me I see it positive. I am over generous, which sometimes, they will say, why do you work? You don't have clothes and yet you give people clothes, you see. To people, they say, now, that is my shortcoming. But I found it myself in me. I will not be having a nice cloth and I see a young kid is walking barefoot. What will I do? Is to give them. And that is one of my weaknesses, but it is also positive to others. But to me, I have seen it normal, but others see it no. It should not be that way. You should empower yourself first. I told them no. I always refer to the word Christ said, when I didn't have clothes, you clothed me. And that's the first thing I do. I don't look at my own interest. The first thing I look at is the interest of others. Yes.
Yeah, and how have the kids responded to your style of coaching, your in the football, and your style of coaching, teaching them your Christian values? How have they responded? Is it the sport that opens them up, or is it in their nature to be that they're just ready for someone to just teach them the sport or your Christian values?
The way I treat them, the way I teach them, the way I talk to them, the way I engage them has made them to love what they're doing. In fact, during the pandemic, when there was a lockdown, I started an education program. I would teach them in this house. You see this small church here? All of them, when they went back to their respective schools, the result that came, there's none who was bottom. They were all in top 10. That means that what I'm doing is changing their lives, not only sports-wise, but also academically. No, there's no child that can stop going to school whatsoever if I'm here with them. If I'm still alive, all of them. In fact, they're not forced. They do them out of their genuine heart because of the love that I have shown them. And that love that is there for them has taught them that indeed they can achieve something, even if they're poor, even if they have nothing, even if they don't have food. One day, something good shall come from them. Yes.
Beautiful. And so, if somebody decides to sponsor one of the kids or to donate to your academy, what are the high priorities of expenditures? Like where like if they donate, where's the money going to go to? It goes to what? And so that way people know how you're trying to prioritize the funds.
Yes. We have projects that are ongoing. We have the recurrent expenditure and the expenditure where we have the development part of it. Now, first, recurrent expenditure is we need to have the training equipment. That is the first fundamental. It is football. Football, the balls undergo wear and tear. 2-3 months they're gone. They're gone. And we want 30 kids. It means that for one to achieve his potential as a footballer to reach somewhere, he or she must touch the ball over 2,000 times in a day. And that means that each and everyone should have a ball. But obviously, we always have 10, 15, we reach at 20, and those 50s that were there are all depleted. They're all gone. But the first priority always are to equip the academy with the training materials, which still we don't have. I don't know if I am able to show you if I turn the camera, if you allow me,
Sure.
all right, you'll see this bare land. You see? What can you see?
Yeah.
Now,
just the field area.
there's a field, but there's no grass. There's no turf in it. This is a land that I donated myself because we had been chased away from school, public school, because of COVID. When the government said, no, in public institutions, it's out of bounds. Therefore, we have to look for an alternative path where the boys could train. And this is the land I donated. It was hilly. Now, through support of friends, like Paul Taylor, you'll check on him, he gave us money and we graded this place. Although it's not yet done according to how we want it. Now, the first priority that if anyone donates, depending on the level of donation, is to make this field better for the boys and girls to train. Other places are still sloppy. The other side of the place is still not good for. It's not good enough. We need to extend it bigger, and then later we plant grass. Or if God provides resources, we can make it tough, artificial grass, which takes a lot of time before it gets wasted. Then you can even see the posts we're using are the posts we have are not metallic. These are just timber. You see.
Yeah,
The
you actually have woodwork, right? They call that the woodwork right there. It's actual wood.
Yeah, that's the hood. It means that we still have, like, this place, still a lot of grading has to be. That is another priority. Two, another top priority, if I come, let me bring back the camera. Sorry. I don't know if, let me see. Good, sorry. Again, second priority is to make these boys go to school and girls. As you can see, 7 of them are joining high school. Others are in high school, but they're trying. But I said, no, let me start by getting a sponsorship to get these boys pay their school fee only. And you can see from 3 people have accepted and they sent money. 2 people have sent money for the boys to go to school. Others also promised, but we are waiting for them. And that money purely goes to the child, to school fee, and the receipts are there. And the child talks to the sponsor. That is another thing. And then later, we want to build a changing room, hostel where the people can sleep. And there's a land down there. Which I've donated purely out of heart because I want good things for these boys and girls. Yes.
Yeah.
Now the priorities, even you'll see them on the website soon, is to get this place graded. We plant the grass, and you see water is a problem. The third priority will be to sink a borehole, to drill a well. And drilling a well, is an expensive thing. That will help us also water the field, and also will help the water also for the community to use. Because here, a lot of typhoid and cholera is always there because of, by then, the government failure to bring services to the citizens. Yes.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, in the show notes, I'll put the information to where they can reach you, and where they can donate and visit your website. I also like to say that I want to use football because I'm like a Texas nationalist, so I want Texas to succeed. And you never know, maybe one day when Texas plays in a World Cup, maybe we'll meet Kenya in the World Cup final, and you never know, maybe you and I will hang out one day and watch Texas and Kenya in a game. You never know how stuff works out. But in closing, could just give the final pitch to the people on what you're doing and how they can reach you, where they can find your stuff, and just close it out.
Oh, thank you so much. Let me start by thanking you for giving me the opportunity to explain to the world what we are doing to impact lives, mostly in these rural areas that has been neglected for many decades. Two, the work I'm doing I may put it, it is God-given work. It's a service to the humanity. And support that comes in, that trickles in to the academy will purely go to the academy affairs. And mostly, which if anyone sends something, we'll have to make sure that what has been sent is accounted for. Accountability is the first priority. If someone says, this one I want it to sponsor a child, that child has to confirm that indeed I received the sponsorship and I got the money. If it is meant for grading the field has to be graded as the person sees that indeed it is being done. If the money is to be bought to be used in buying equipment, the equipment should be bought and the receipt sent back to see indeed that the work is going on as per the wishes of the donor. That is the assurance, and even those who have donated by then, we don't have sponsorship now. It is only through someone who comes and let me do this, and it is always not very common too. It's someone just volunteers, and therefore, with God's provision, by faith, always I have faith. God will open doors, and this place will be a place where boys and girls will actually realize their potential in football, in academics, and in any other spheres of life. And that is what I can say, sir.
Perfect. Well, I'm inspired. I'd like to say right now that after this interview is done, I want to pledge $300 towards soccer balls, the footballs, and once that goes through, I'd love to see a picture of a lot of balls that you get from that. And I put a challenge out there to anybody else there that listens to this to also donate some money if they can. So that's what I can do. I'm going to be sending you some money, and I hope other people do too. In closing, I'd like to thank you for coming on. I hope I did a good job there with you and trying to showcase kind of what you got going on and how important football can be in society. And thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
All
And
right.
thank you for the balls. Thank you so much.
All right, later. Okay.